8%.
Figures are indeterminate, we would never know. So I would most humbly suggest that in this forum here today, at least I will endeavor to put down this credit rating approach. It would not fit us. Contrarily,
Economic power, your political power, your diplomatic power. And that is how this rating have been made. It is also your geographical location, and it is also as to in the world scenario, how much you can project your power. Remember, we are now holding on to force for 2-3 years, and we are coming up. If you see it, that we may be slightly away from China, but we are coming up. My only point is, this must be a satisfaction to understand.
They're supposed to reach, and that will happen only if your weapon systems and the platforms are manufactured here. Let's take Navy's case. Majority of our ships, the aircraft carrier was the only one which was not being built here, and that is the one which is now under construction, and hopefully by 2020 should see the daylight. While we have made such huge, the platforms, we haven't been able to make a mine-sweeping vessel that we are buying from South Korea. So now we will make that. So our attention to bigger platforms, to my mind, has been more than high-tech equipment. Okay. We should have actually invested little more on high-tech equipment. As far as submarines are concerned, you can see that the nuclear submarine has been built first, and we still don't have full technology of the diesel submarine, whereas one would expect that you go step by step. So I think that as far as Navy is concerned, we are absolutely on track. But what is required is now to have more and more weapon systems, either by technology transfer or by development of your own weapon systems and new platforms. Second thing that is required here is that the private sector has to be taken on board for the assembly lines or the manufacturing lines to become more and more, so that our requirements are met. Right now, PSUs are not able to meet the requirements of the armed forces, particularly the Navy, because we want induction at a quicker rate. Unless you are independent, indigenously, you cannot become a very great power.
Okay, so as you're pointing out, a lot has been done, but as I said, there is always a scope for improvement, and that is where we are looking forward to. Let's bring in Commodore Dixit here. Commodore Dixit, from the Indian Air Force's point of view, and the way the situation was maybe a few years ago, and the kind of improvements which have been happening step by step, how do you see the Indian Air Force shoring up its strength in the years to come and coming up to that level, which is the required level for us?
Vishal, as you yourself have noticed, Indian Air Force is very popular these days with what kind of controversy surrounding itself. But having said that, we cannot go away that there has been an endeavor for capacity building. Service chiefs in the past have taken the Air Force for out-of-reach exercises just to satisfy themselves that they have the wherewithal, means, training levels to achieve an activity which a nation of our size may be called upon to do. So we went to 2 red flag exercises in other part of the world in US and found ourselves not wanting at all. We were successful. The Americans are exercising with us these days, as you have perhaps read in the newspapers.
The COP in here.
Yes. And also we have exercised with the Southeast Asian countries. They've been coming to us at Kalaikunda, and we have done well. The exercise Gagan Shakti has satisfied us substantially to say that in a 5-day operation we could achieve much more. And as you saw, aircraft took off from east and went and attacked targets in west seaboard. That's an achievement. But these are all small portion achievements. Can we sustain? How do we arrive at the context and the complex air power with our total overall objective? And Air Force fills a large number of objectives. So do the other services. We are in search and rescue. We are in calamity support. We got 2 military powers on either side, both rising, especially one in the north, which is a potent air power, now bragging 5th generation stealth aircraft. And we have to contend with all this. In the last discussion which we had, we talked about having developed a BVRM, if we recall. What about other areas of work? All this is only possible, Vishal, if very quickly and briskly we get about doing our own work, which appears very distant to me, because the Indian technological levels for highly sensitive, high value technological things is still very poor. There was a certain hope that with the arrival of new weapon systems, the offset program which comes along with them, we've allowed the imbuement of certain more technologies within us. But that is not happening at the pace at which we are wanting to do.
Okay.
And as Admiral told me in a private discussion, that maybe a lot of private players should be allowed to come into this game so that the improvement is rapid. Yes, I fully agree with him. But do we have a methodology in the current construct of our acquisition procedures to move briskly? I'm afraid I don't see it.
Okay.
Your acquisition schemes and programs are dilatory. And the other day I learned that we still don't have a proper method to assess whether offsets are delivering or not delivering.
Okay.
There are studies being done. So we have, I would only say that this capacity building in the Indian state, in the Indian civilization is only possible, Vishal, if we get on to do our own thing as quickly as possible.
Okay, and to pick up the pace as well as you pointed out, let's bring in General Sivach as well here. General Sivach, from Army's point of view, we have heard, reports coming in the past few months that the Army has been planning to do a restructuring of sorts, to improve the teeth to tail ratio, one, and then also, shed the excess flab. We have had new equipments coming in recently. M777 officer was inducted. Then there are other things as well which are happening as far as Army is concerned. How do you see the future roadmap for Indian Army in the same context as Navy and Air Force as in augmenting its capacity?
See, Vishal, there is no denying the fact the Army has realized it, that they need a money. As on today, whatever is the budget, the 80% of that money is going in a revenue, and that is about your pay and allowances. Only 20 is been left for capital, for modernization. And therefore, there is a requirement of make the Indian Army lean and mean. You cut the tail, and therefore you have some fund for modernization. There is already a transformation study going on as far as Army headquarters is concerned. In this is one of the points that possibly about 1.5 lakh personnel will be cut in a phased manner, so that we have got more money available for capital. Second thing, what they are doing is to improve the response system, that we are now, instead of going in the conventional way, it will be integrated battle groups. So there's another study which is going on, possibly it will come. Now, as on today, what one realizes that over a period of time, Indian Army had learned one thing, that they can able to fight on a conventional warfare on two fronts. That is against China and Pakistan in a worst case scenario. Are we prepared for that or not? That is a mute question, and we are going for that. So as on today, you remember one strike corps has been already raised for mountains. We were quite okay as far as plains were concerned and deserts were concerned. We were lacking in mountains. It has been already raised. It is almost 70% raised at 17 mountain corps. So because the response toward the Chinese side has to be increased. As far as other weapon systems are concerned, they are on the pipeline. Like you remember that as far as Pakistan is concerned, it is 1/5 of our economy, 1/6 of our population, but their budget as well as their army is 60% of us. So it doesn't gear well with them. It means because they are spending almost 4 to 5% of their GDP and we are only spending 1.59, they are the biggest adversary as far as India is concerned. So is the China. So therefore, India cannot relax. India needs weapon system. But the mantra of the day is Indianization. We cannot depend upon import, because most of our items and weapon equipment are being imported because our public sector undertaking are not able to take on. The private players have to come. Indianization has to go on. Remember, as far as Pakistan is concerned, which I told you, they are 1/5 of our size in everything, including budget. But where they are still having edge is attack hepters. They have far more attack hepters than us. They have a more self-propelled gun. Now we are going for K9 Vajra, which is L&T is now collaborating with South Korean firm and we are going to manufacture and they are going to come. Same way Apache attack after we bought. So my point of telling is Indian Army is on the track. They understand what is the 10 years at hand. They are going for modernization. Wherever is the flap, they are trying to cut down by carrying out a transformation study. In future, Indianization will be the mantra of the day and they are going in a big way. Wherever Indianization can be taken place by bringing the private players, that must be brought in.
Okay, so let's now look at the strategic part, Edmondson, and let's begin with Navy only. It is in the recent past, it has been said that Indian Navy, and it has been moving towards being a blue water Navy. So, what are the strategic goals which we are specifically looking forward to?
The primary objective of our Navy is to make sure that the sea lanes of communication are open, even during a wartime scenario. To that extent, the naval chief has mentioned, and even on the 3rd of December, he mentioned that all the choke points, which are the entry and exit points from the Indian Ocean, they are being watched. So reconnaissance is one big issue. We have got fair amount of control on knowing as to who's where. Can we sustain those firepower? That is what the roadmap has been charted, and hopefully that in the next 4 or 5 years we should have it. But as you said, strategic interest, well, India's strategic interest is to become a country where people are well-to-do, people are happy, people are secure. And to meet those economic objectives, the Navy's support is extremely important as far as the trade is concerned. Similarly, the Army support is important because the borders have to be quiet. Air Force's support is very important because the Army will need the Air Force, so will the Navy will need the Air Force. So I think that the strategic interest, if you see the calculation of this area, India is one of the very few powers which is capable of hitting economic targets far off from its own land. So therefore, in case India gets threatened in its own heartland, we have a method of responding, and that needs to be strengthened, which is happening. Right now, we just had the Arihant's full peacetime patrol role, and I'm sure that the next one and the next one, they will carry missiles of slightly longer ranges. So we have to make more of these so that we are not going to allow other country to dictate their terms and deter them from fighting. Okay. That should be the strategic objective, and I think that is what the objective is.
That is something which is in part being achieved. From the Air Force's point of view, Commander Dikshit, the roadmap ahead.
I think the Air Force's map is precisely what K.N. Subramaniam said several decades ago, before he passed away, that India has no option but to be power and with all its ramifications. And that is what is the strategic link up globally. Let me be very candid, Vishal. We are not alone. We are a part of an apparatus, and we have to play that game. And the Air Force's game domestically is to make sure that the skies are protected, and that whenever it's called for in aid of civil power, it is there to help out. And in the event of a conflict, it reaches out and neutralizes the adversary. Simply said, these are the three goals. But in order to do that, it must have several segments and colors of weapon systems on board, and for which it should be able to do things without any trepidation, so to say. That is what I said in the beginning. We have to be able to build those capacities. Air power is an expensive, high-tech process, and it moves very rapidly. If you do not act in time, then you are bound to land up faltering. Some good things have happened. For example, the acquisition of the S-400 missiles from the US, Russians, is to truly protect our air defense systems to an extent that we can hopefully hit the rising missile miles away as much as 400 to 500 kilometers. And similarly, the air power is being brought in, some of which we discussed last time. But we have to be able to satisfy ourselves that we can sustain this process if the events unfold unfair to us for as much as 4 to 5 weeks. Do we have the capacity for that? I don't think we are ever able to come to that conclusion with sincerity. and there is a measure of uncertainty which surrounds us. And this can only be overcome if we do things ourselves.
Okay.
And for that, I may be miles away, but that slogan cannot be forgotten.
Okay, so we are making those strides, but yes, there are some gaps which needs to be filled. General Sivaj, final word from you as far as Indian Army's perspective is concerned, and you pointed out earlier as well that tackling two adversaries, that is Pakistan on the western front and China on the northern front as well. But then how are we going to go ahead and do it specifically from the Indian Army's point of view?
See, Vishal, there is no denying the fact that Indian Army is on the right track as far as modernization is concerned. And it has taken a task for itself that it should able to look toward both the adversaries together. And therefore, it is equipping, it is training, it is modernizing in that way. As on today, remember that Indian Army is involved in anti-terrorism operation in Kashmir Valley and anti-militancy operation in Northeast. But notwithstanding that, our conventional, preparedness is a requirement of the day, and that has been done. As far as modernization is coming, it is, though of course there is a financial crunch, as I told you, that there is hardly money left for the capital. But in time to come, the money is being given by the government, and you are going for modernization. M777, Hauser, lightweight, which were not there, which have now been come to Indian Army, basically for mountains with 17 core. And also for northern border. Then again K9 Vajra, I told you, self-propelled. Another thing which is going to happen in modern, they're saying that attack helicopters are going to come to the army, which was a long-standing requirement. A mechanized operation can only be fought in case you have a aviation sort of platform which is available to you.
Okay.
So attack helicopters possibly are now going to come to the army for more coordination. Any war which has to be fought with the adversary has to be a jointmanship between Army, Air Force, Navy. Okay. No part or can only become modernized leaving the other two. All three of this segment have to go together. But as far as our Indian Army is concerned, Indian Army has recognized that you need to modernize yourself. You need to cut your flap, which is the requirement of the day. Possibly Indian Army is going on the right track.
Okay, so as our panelists are pointing out that the entire process of modernization of all three forces is definitely on track in terms of be it the acquisition of new equipments and platforms or indigenization. But there are some gaps, there are needs to go ahead and fill those gaps to understand the entire necessity of augmenting the capacity of all three defense forces. We'll come back again next week with a different topic and different set of guests. Till then, keep watching Rajya Sabha Television.
Many believe that the journey of a tourist to North India is incomplete without a visit to Punjab's capital, Chandigarh. With some lovely picturesque spots, it promises a memorable visit.
Well, for me, and I think for many people, it's a sheer magic. There's nowhere like this in the rest of the world. It really is quite unique.
But there is a whole lot more to sample away from the hustle and bustle of the city. And this has been made possible with the efforts of Chandigarh and Punjab Tourism. One can now take a ride from Chandigarh to the outskirts of the city to get a feel of the rural ambience. Some time spent with a local village family provides a glimpse of their daily life. But it is the visit to the local village fair which exemplifies the rustic lifestyle and the rich, vibrant culture of rural Punjab.
People, especially NRIs, they love to come here with their children who haven't really seen this kind of life before. So they come here and they enjoy this kind of rural environment. That is the idea. It has been successfully implemented in some states like Rajasthan and Gujarat. So we are also keen to showcase our rural heritage in and around Chandigarh.
The state is known for its agriculture, and a visit to the farms is a must, where one can even get a first-hand experience of farming.
It's wonderful. We're enjoying ourselves very much. Very much. Everybody's friendly. It's great.
Another attraction for tourists is the annual Rural Olympics held at Kila Raipur. The adventurous and daring traditional games are a huge draw. Dance, music, sports and religion. There is a lot to experience in rural Punjab.
Voting ends in Rajasthan and Telangana, completing the poll exercise of 5 state assemblies. Voter turnout of 73% in Rajasthan, 67% in Telangana recorded till 5 p.m. Youth, women and first-time voters show great enthusiasm. Results to be declared on December 11. Enforcement Directorate raids premises of 2 people associated with Robert Vadra in connection with defence deal commissions. Raids in Delhi and adjoining areas and also in Bengaluru. The raids also linked to assets abroad. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says India is ready to leap into the next era. The government is working towards fulfilling the aspirations of all Indians. Says that financial criminals and fugitives should not get sanctuary anywhere in the world and appeals to the media to help in fulfilling the dreams of a new India. A major setback for the fugitive liquor baron Vijay Mallya. The Supreme Court refuses to stay ED proceedings to declare him a fugitive economic offender in a trial court. And Indian bowlers peg Australia back on day 2 of the Adelaide Test. Australia ends at 191 for 7 from 88 overs as a tight nagging line makes the Australian batsmen toil for every run. Ashwin takes 3 wickets. Our top story, India's newest state, Telangana, went to the polls to elect its second assembly. The voter turnout of 67% is likely to go up, and it reflects a keen interest in the political process in the state. The election is being seen as a triangular contest between the TRS, the BJP and the Congress-TDP left alliance.
The long queues outside polling stations are witness to the fact that voters are well aware of their democratic rights and their collective duty in an election. Polling for all 119 seats of Telangana Assembly began at 7 a.m. on Friday and completed at 5 p.m. In 13 constituencies where Naxals have some influence, voting took place between 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. Polling stations remained open even after the closing time due to long queues of voters still waiting to cast their votes. Polling was peaceful except for a few sporadic incidents.
Figures which we have received for the turnout, we have received the interim figure of 67%, and we will be getting final figure when the parties come back.
The fate of 1,821 candidates is being decided by an electorate of more than 2 crore 80 lakh voters. 32,796 polling stations have been set up for the elections. 10,280 polling stations have been declared as sensitive. Election Commission made special arrangements at polling stations to encourage voters. Polling stations were decorated for the festival of democracy. People were seen enthusiastically arriving an hour in advance for their voting. First-time voters and elderly, including a 90-year-old, waited in line for their turn to elect their government.
Expectations high है देखना चाहती like what can they bring new.
Encouragement in youth, like jobs now, the jobs are giving to the youth people.
A new change for betterment of our country. Safety for women is first point.
ये जो रोड्स हैं वो थोड़ा अभी बाकी हैं और जो नए बंदे हैं उनके लिए जॉब्स बाकी हैं.
They must provide free education for the persons who cannot afford the fees.
VIP voters were all the more enthusiastic. Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao, former Union Minister and BJP leader Bandaru Dattatray, TRS MP K. Kavita, BJP leaders approached the Election Commission with a complaint against an interview given by Congress President Rahul Gandhi in Hyderabad.
सबसे महत्वपूर्ण मुद्दा था पेड न्यूज़ का. कांग्रेस पार्टी के प्रेसिडेंट श्री राहुल गांधी जी ने पेड न्यूज़ के माध्यम से मतदाताओं को इन्फ्लुएंस करने, साथ ही साथ फ्री एंड फेयर इलेक्शन के प्रोसेस को प्रभावित करने की कोशिश की है. चुनाव आयोग ने इस संबंध में इसको गंभीरता से सुना है और इस पर कार्रवाई की बात करी है. उसके अलावा राजस्थान में कुछ बूथ कैप्चरिंग हुई है, उसके बारे में भी हमने रीपोलिंग की डिमांड की है.
The voters have done their job and their verdict is awaited as attention shifts to the counting day on December 11. With Rama Tyagi, Hyderabad Bureau for DD News.
A healthy turnout of 73% till 5 p.m. marked the elections in Rajasthan. 199 seats of the 200-seat Rajasthan Assembly went to the polls on Friday, while the election is being seen as a keen contest between the BJP and the Congress party.
Festival of Democracy celebrated with great fervour. These visuals tell the tale of voter enthusiasm in Rajasthan. This is the hallmark of a vibrant democracy. Of the 200 seats in Rajasthan, voting took place on 199. Election to the Ramgarh seat in Alwar has been countermanded due to the demise of the BSP candidate. Voters queued up from 8 am till 5 pm.
Tentative figure is 72.62%, and since polling is going on, by late night it will be over and it is likely to go up. When we compare it with the Lok Sabha 2014, the turnout was 63.02%. Assembly election 2013, the turnout, final turnout including all the postal ballots etc. was 75.23%.
There are 2,274 candidates in the fray for the 199 seats. All efforts were made to ensure peaceful, free and fair polls. There were reports of EVMs malfunctioning in a few places, but these were promptly addressed. Special arrangements were made at several polling booths. Many were decorated to welcome voters. Extra care was taken to make booths accessible for all. Arrangements were made for women and the elderly. As a result, voters over 100, invalid voters, those on wheelchairs and women from all walks of life were seen casting their votes.
As a youth, सबसे important चीज़ होती है education and the job.
हम सोचते हैं कि इससे बदलाव आ सकता है, हमें इसमें पार्ट लेना चाहिए.
मुझे तो लगता है कि सारी महिलाएं अब जागरूक हो चुकी है और उनको अपना मतदान देना चाहिए, तभी सही कैंडिडेट खड़ा हो सकता है.
वोट इसी के करे जो कैंडिडेट एजुकेटेड हो, डेवलपमेंट की बातें करते हो और पोलराइजेशन न करे. सिर्फ विकास के मुद्दे अहम भूमिका निभाता है और इससे देश का विकास होता है और समाज के अंदर नई सोच डेवलप होती है.
Chief Minister Vasundhara Raje, Union Minister Arjun Ram Meghwal, Rajyavardhan Rathore, State Home Minister Gulab Chand Kataria too cast their votes.
पूरा विश्वास है कि क्योंकि अच्छा विकास का कार्य हुआ है, उसको देखते हुए राजस्थान की जनता अपने विवेक से उस पार्टी को मजबूत करेंगे जिस पार्टी ने ये काम किया है.
इस देश को मजबूत करने के लिए लोगों ने अपनी जान, अपनी आहुति दे दी. आज हमें मतदान करना है अपने मन से ये सोचकर कि कौन वाकई में सच्चे रूप में इस देश को आगे बढ़ा रहा है.
State Congress President Sachin Pilot, former Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot and several other Congress leaders too exercised their franchise.
नई सरकार का चुनाव करना है. मुझे लगता है कि बहुत शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से एक अच्छे माहौल में चुनाव संपन्न हो और ये इस लोकतंत्र की खूबी है कि जनादेश के सामने सबको झुकना पड़ता है.
Now all eyes are on 11th of December when the voters' decision will be known. With Anuj Yadav, Neeraj Singh, Vishal Baristo, Jaipur Bureau for DD News.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended the Diamond Jubilee celebrations of Dainik Jagran in New Delhi. He Hitting out at the Congress party, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday said that people with big surnames rule the country, but India could not prosper despite having the best talent and abundant natural resources. Addressing the Jagran Forum, organized by the Dainik Jagran Media Group in New Delhi, he said that poverty alleviation efforts in the past
कैसे हो जाएगी, तुष्टीकरण कैसे होगा? भाइयों और बहनों, आज जब हम 100% लोगों को करीब करीब सभी मूलभूत सुविधाएं देने के लिए करीब पहुंच गए हैं, तो भारत दूसरे युग में छलांग लगाने के लिए भी तैयार है.
PM laid out the 5-point mantra that his government is earnestly following to realize the dream of New India. He said people in the country are participating in nation building and witnessing the positive changes in the country. He said 95% of the population has benefited from the Swachhta mission. He said road connectivity has gone up to 90% from 55% 4 years ago. LPG connections too have increased from covering 55% to 90% of the population. Rural electrification has gone up rapidly to 90% from 70% in 2014. He said due to honest work culture, the number of income tax assessees has increased to 7 crore, while indirect tax circle has expanded to 1 crore and 20 lakhs. PM said his government enjoys a majority mandate and is rapidly moving towards realizing the dream of New India.
न्यू इंडिया के लिए सरकार का फोकस सामर्थ्य, संसाधन, संस्कार, परंपरा, संस्कृति और सुरक्षा पर है. ये विकास की पंचधारा बच्चों की पढ़ाई, युवा को कमाई, बुजुर्गों को दवाई, किसानों को सिंचाई, जन जन की सुनवाई, ये 5 धाराएं, इसी को केंद्र में रखते हुए सरकार विकास की गंगा को आगे बढ़ा रही है.
Highlighting development works done by the government, the Prime Minister said that the country has been witnessing positive changes in every sector. The PM reiterated the maxim of minimum government, maximum governance and Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas remain at the core of New India. He also said that New India refers to an arrangement where schemes are created through public participation and implemented with public participation. Sudhakar Das's report, DD News. Declaring that the BJP's growth in West Bengal has scared Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, the BJP President Amit Shah accused her of throttling democracy in the state by denying permission to 3 BJP yatras in the state. The scathing attack came after the BJP had to postpone 3 yatras in the state due to Mamata Banerjee government refusing permission. The Calcutta High Court is apprised of the matter and expects the government to decide by December 14.
As the political battle in 5 states abates for now, the political slugfest has begun in West Bengal. BJP and the West Bengal government are engaged in a fierce war of words over BJP National President Amit Shah's Gantantra Bachao or Save Democracy Yatra. Calcutta High Court has directed the top officials of the West Bengal government to organize a meeting with the BJP representatives by the 12th of December and take a decision on the Rath Yatra by the 14th.
The judgment vindicated our position. The state